To a writer, the blank page is like staring into the face of death himself. To a performer, the empty stage with its blaring lights and its empty chairs filled with the imaginary critics, it's a terrifying place to be in. You imagine what does this person have to say? What message do you have that's relevant to me, that's relevant to the times, that's relevant to what needs to be said to the world right now with the environmental factors that are creating the conversations that prevail in our moment in history, etc. These are important questions that haunt a writer as he or she creates the thing that they need to create. There are so many inspirations to pull from, so many ideas from inside your head that come in from the tapestries of experience that the world has to offer. What do we focus on? What moment within the piece that we are thinking of do we focus on? Do we work from beginning to end, from the prologue to epilogue, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or do we work out of order? Do we make an outline? Do we draw a sketch? Do we make a piece of clay? Do we dance a dance? Do we twiddle on our flutes and tinkle on the ivories until it comes out from us in one genius stroke? No. Great ideas are fragmentary things. They are mosaics of shattered tiles from your subconscious that you are putting together in a way that creates a gestalt, a archetype. We see the face of God through these fragments that we are shattering and arranging on the canvas. But what piece do we grab from the pile of tiles on the ground? What fish do we catch from the ocean? To reference David Lynch. I have a system that I believe can address some of the questions that you need to ask yourself when you create scenes in stories. This is a system of creative randomization for writers and for storytellers. And storytelling is something that is not a conceit of writers alone. I think there are many great stories in the storytellers in the corporate world, and there are many great storytellers within the field of design. And audiences crave story through various mediums, and we have brains that are fine-tuned to detect stories in the world around us and to derive meaning from random things all around us. And this system that I have helps you to conjure some randomness in symbols and put it all together in your mind in a way that will help you to be more productive in your creativity than if you were to just drink a boatload of coffee and stare at a blank page, or dance around in your studio, or fumble around with your clay for hours and hours and hours. For what reason? And and think of the lives that we all live with distractions and with the people that we love that need us, that pull us out of our rich inner worlds. How do we find the time, and how, more importantly, do we use that time? Those are questions that you, as a creative person and as just a person in general, should continue to ask yourself and should continue to want to find answers for the rest of your life. But for me, this system, which I'm going to show to you, is the answer to that question for me, and I hope can be the answer to a great many questions for you as well. It's faster to just do it than it is to explain it, honestly. It's a tedious thing to explain. I'm going to pull out my Caroline Miss archetype card. This is a type of character, or a moment in a character's life. A person's life is comprised of many archetypes. A person's psychology is comprised of many archetypes. But there are moments in our life where we are being carried by a specific archetype, or we are exalting a certain archetype within ourselves. In this case, this would be the wounded child. Perhaps this is a person who is remembering a time in their life when they were unfairly wounded by someone who they cared about. This is one of many cards that are within this deck here, and I'm not going to go into them. 5-minute time limit, remember? I'm going to roll my 6-sided die. Here I've rolled a 4, which 4 means a theme. So I'm going to focus on that theme. I'm not even going to name it yet because I haven't rolled all the dice yet. There's so many things that could just be by itself, but I'm going to show you the whole system. Yellow, no. Red, conflict, anger. I'm going to roll 4 Rory story cubes. You're going to see these story cubes have pictures on them, verbs. I roll 4 of them because I want a cue, I want a routine, I want a conflict, and I want an outcome for my scene. So for my cue, I have the need to climb. For my conflict, for my routine, I have reaching. So perhaps he needs to climb to reach something. They find themselves hanging. Conflict is dangling, hanging, and consequence is something gets knocked over. Alrighty, I think many of us are already beginning to conjure some ideas about what could be happening in this moment symbolically for this wounded child character. But I'm going to roll this 20-sided die now to really make some complication here. A 7. A 7, which corresponds with the 7th Sapphira and the Kabbalic Tree of Life, which I must reference in my notes, which is Hesed, love, kindness, grace, generosity, healing, hospitality, procreating, peacemaking, charity. Because I rolled a 7 and not a 17, 11 through 20 is the positive side of the Tree of Life, and 1 through 10 is like the negative side of the energy that we're trying to conjure with within the Tree of Life. So in this case, since 7 relates to love and kindness and grace and generosity and healing and hospitality, we're going to focus on the opposite of that. This character is not healing. This character is not growing. This person is not peacemaking. And this person is conflicting. So what I see from these die is I see a character who was wounded as a child and is a bitter social climber whose self-esteem hangs by a thread, and the result is an accident shatters their security and false sense of self. There you have it, is an idea, a sketch for a scene that can be expounded upon, can be made into an entire script even. This is just one roll from my system for creative randomization.